Before I mentioned that the software was very easy to use. The basic structure of the software is you have two screens. This is where all the information for the measurement occurs. This is the actual display of the FID or result of the pulse sequence. You have 5 tabs in the screen where you enter data. The first tab is your calibration curve. The calibration curve, you can have pre-programmed standards in here so that you don't have to type it every time. Here would be your actual calibration curve that's being used. This tab would be the result of the measurement data that you're running. The option tab is all the different parameters that would be appropriate for the type of measurement that you're doing. So we're doing a FID. These are your key parameters here. A unique feature of our analyzer is when running NMR, you have to tune resonance. You can either do it once in the morning or you can do it prior to each measurement. So we're setting this up to tune before each measurement. That gives you the best accuracy. Then finally, this is the run settings or sequence. When using an auto sampler, or if you have all the samples weighed out and ready to go, you would put all the sample names in here. You would enter in all your weights and your tare weights so that the instrument has all the information it needs. Since sometimes people do routine measurements of the same sample over and over, we have the ability here of setting up run sequences where I can just load the samples I'm running. This was a previous run, so I can open up this one here for the video that I have set up, and we're going to run these 2 samples. The weights are already in here. If I wanted to enter the weight, I would just click on the screen and type in the weight. Once I get done entering the weight, I verify the weights, the machine checks it and says everything's okay. Then I would come over to this screen and I would clear the previously run data from the results list. I could go down here, hit clear all. I can go to the option screen to make sure I have the settings I want, or I could open up some pre-programmed settings so I could have one thing set up to do mustard seeds, one thing set up to do fat content in food. So I can have custom applications for each type of sample that I'm running. Right now we have this already set up for the show. So at this point, I would then come up and open the control panel for the auto sampler. And in this control panel, there's a sequence. You could have multiple sequences, one for calibration, one for samples, one for QC samples. I could have one for 10 samples, one for 20 samples. I have total flexibility, and that's the power of the software. So I have now go here and I load a script, which is what I'm running, and I'm going to run this one here that I have ready for this demonstration. At this point, all I have left to do is press Start Script, and then the instrument is running automatically. If you look at the auto sampler now, you'll see that it's grabbing in the first tube and moving it to the next step in the sequence. Normally that sequence would be put into a dry heater to heat the sample up to the same temperature as the magnet, but for expedience here, we're just doing a step to a different position on the rack. It's now moving the second sample into a different position. And we'll now go to the first sample, grab it and bring it and put it in the magnet for the measurement. So at this point, you can see that the probe goes in, and you can also see here on the bottom of the screen the steps in the measurement that you're at. At this point, you're seeing here the auto-tune kicks in, where it's actually auto-tuning the instrument to the sample just prior to measurement. This ensures the ultimate in accuracy and precision. Now the measurement is starting. You see the weight, the name of the sample came over, and the weights came over, and it's waiting, and it normalizes the weight. So what that means is it's going to take the signal and divide it by the sample weight. The first measurement already came over. So the first, we had a 46.17% full scale. It divided that by the sample weight, and we're coming up with a result. If you look at the screen over here, you can see there's your FID decay with both real and imaginary. And this red line is the sum of these two curves. So we've already finished the first sample, and we had two readings, a 46.17, a 46.21. The average is 46.19, and then divided by the weight, and it came up with a percent hydrogen or percent oil of 55%. It's now running the next sample. When you see the line fill here, there starts the next auto tune. The auto tune's finished, and you also can see down here at the bottom, it gives you the status. It's scan 1 of 2, where you are in the measurement. So if you have like 10 scans, it'll do that. There's your first measurement. It's almost completed. Fills in the measurement here and is on to this next reading.